Chapter 16. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are ye all. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest? I also could speak as ye do. If your soul were in my soul's stead, I could heap up words against you, and shake my head again at you. But I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips would assuage your grief. Though I speak, my grief is not assuaged, and though I forbear, what am I eased? But now he hath made me weary, thou hast made desolate all my company. And thou hast filled me with wrinkles, which is a witness against me, and my leanness rising up in me beareth witness to my face. He teareth me in his wrath, who hateth me. He gnasheth upon me with his teeth. Mine enemy sharpeneth his eyes upon me. They have gaped upon me with their mouths. They have smitten me upon the cheek reproachfully. They have gathered themselves together against me. God hath delivered me to the ungodly, and turned me over into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, but he hath broken me asunder. He hath also taken me by my neck, and shaken me to pieces, and set me up for his mark. His archers compass me round about. He cleaveth my reins asunder, and doth not spare. He poureth out my gall upon the ground. He breaketh me with breach upon breach. He runneth upon me like a giant. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin, and defiled my horn in the dust. My face is foul with weeping, and on my eyelids is the shadow of death. Not for any injustice in my hands. Also my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not thou my blood, and let my cry have no place. Also now behold, my witness is in heaven, and my record is on high. My friends scorn me, but mine eye poureth out tears unto God. Oh, that one might plead for a man with God, as a man pleadeth for his neighbor. When a few years are come, then shall I go the way whence I shall not return. I love this in chapter 16, I love verse 2. He says, Job says to them, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are ye all. He's basically telling them, as in verse 4, I could speak words as you do. If your soul were in my soul's stead, I could heap up words against you and shake my head against you, which means to testify against you. Tut, 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 tut. But he said he wouldn't do that. He says in verse 5, I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips would assuage your grief, which means relieve your grief. And what we see here is the difference between Job and his friends. We have the advantage, of course, of knowing that Job is a righteous individual, and that all of this is coming upon him, not because he deserves it, but just because it's happening, because Satan has power to do certain types of things, and this is something that he wanted to do. And God permitted it to happen. God has to allow us to have certain things to happen to us. He can't protect us from everything, because we learn nothing then. If every single prayer that we have is answered immediately, then we don't learn to walk by faith and to live by faith, which we absolutely have to learn here. And this is what Job is learning. He has a good part of that down. It isn't that he doesn't know it, but he is learning to have absolute faith. In verse 8 it says, and thou hast filled me with wrinkles, which is a witness against me. In other words, he's lost his health, his vigor, he's lost maybe his muscle mass. He's now got wrinkles where he used to have muscles before. Everything about him is changing. And he feels left alone. He feels as though everything that is important to him, he is losing or has lost. And when it says in verse 15, I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin, it basically means that that he's not taking off. Sackcloth used to be something you would put on and take off. But if you sew it on your skin, it means it's there forever, sort of thing. I mean, these are all images, right? He hasn't sewed it on, but it means he's assumed the attitude of permanent mourning. And in verse 20, my friends scorn me, but mine eyes poureth out tears unto God. Even though his friends are scorning him and telling him how unrighteous he is still pouring out tears unto God. No matter what trials we have, this is an important thing to understand. He has not said that God is the cause of it or God should be blamed for it. He recognizes where his salvation is. And God is his salvation, and he will not stop worshiping God no matter what. He doesn't understand it, but what's happening, but he isn't going to stop worshiping God.